Hey everybody, we're on Breakout 12, so that's kind of exciting. Let's see if we can get this game working more like a proper game. So like if the ball goes off the bottom, then we lose a game or lose a life, and then eventually the game's over and then it resets. So that's what we're going to work on today, and I think it shouldn't be too bad. All right, here we go. Let's see here. So right now I'm on Breakout 12. I just have a copy of 11 here. And let's run it, just see what we got. Okay, so if you remember, we got the ball bouncing around and the scores are increasing based upon which thing we hit. Okay, so let's add some variables and to make this game work a little bit better. Come down in here to maybe like right before the game loop. Okay, so like here, let's add balls equals 5. Okay, so we'll let 5 hit the bottom before the game's over, and we'll do text balls equals, we'll create a text box. And let's see, we're going to put that at 700, 560, 30. 30 is the size. And let's create a message. Okay, so this is where we can create a message down at the bottom. It says hit the space bar or whatever. Okay. Let's say that is a text box, and we're going to say that one's at 300, 560, 30. And then this one, we are going to put black letters on a white background. So we need pygame.color black. Okay, and then this is our background color, so this one should be white. Okay, and let's add couple more things. We have game running is true, but let's create a couple more Boolean variables. Remember, Boolean variables are true and false variables. So we're going to say new game equals true, and new ball equals false. Okay, so we're going to start, with a new game. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to keep my, okay, so we've created those things. Let's go ahead and make sure that those draw out okay and they look okay. So let's scroll down to where our drawing commands are. They're kind of at the bottom of the game loop. Yeah, here we got draw score. So let's draw the balls. I'm just going to copy and paste this. Draw text balls. Draw, let's see here, balls. And balls here. Okay. And now let's throw a message in here. Command message, and we are going to have the message press in for new game. Okay, and if we run that, we should basically it just says press in for new game, and it says balls, and it really doesn't do much yet. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this paddle and maybe make it look, because the new game should start with the ball not moving. So let's see what we can do there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the top of the code where we're drawing the initial ball and see if we can put that in a better place. Okay. All right, I've probably edited some stuff out here, but right here on line 76, this is where we've defined the ball, okay? But what I want to do is I want to have that ball right on top of the paddle, but I don't know where the paddle is yet as I'm running my code. So I need to move this code defining the ball to underneath the paddle code. So I'm going to hit Command X to cut that, and I'm going to put it right here because I want the ball code to come after the paddle code. And you'll see why that plays out. Now, first off, our paddle Y, okay, our paddle Y, I'm going to scoot that up just a little bit because it was getting in the way of those letters. Okay, so I'm going to set that to 530, okay? And I'm going to set our ball X to be whatever the paddle X is, okay, because the paddle X is whatever the X value is. And then we're going to go ahead and put plus the paddle width divided by 2, okay? I guess we can use integer division there. Okay, because that'll go halfway in between. So the ball X should be following where that ball, where the paddle is. And then paddle Y, or ball Y, is going to be where paddle Y is. And then let's just say minus like 10. So it scoots it up just a little bit. Oops. Ball location should be fine. The dx, dy, we're going to go ahead and set those to 0. Because if we set them to 0, then the ball shouldn't be moving around. So let's go ahead and run that, see what we get. So if we move this around, it's really not doing much at the moment. So let's go ahead and see when we hit that end key, if we can get that ball to start moving once we hit the end key. So let's do that next. Let's scroll down. We need to go into our game loop, and where we have if event type equals pygame.key down, and we need to program the end key. So come right here. We'll type in if event.key equals. Remember, you want that double equals if you're within inside an if statement. K underscore n colon. Okay. So we need dx equals 6 because we now suddenly need to move our x coordinate. And we need our dy also equal to 6. We'll go ahead and set our score back to 0, okay, because, usually 0n means a new game. So whatever our score is, it needs to be set back to 0. The balls needs to be set back to 5 because, again, it's a new game. And we're going to go ahead and create a whole new set of bricks because presumably the game's over and we want to restart. So we do bricks equals new, make bricks, right? And 5, 19 was what we had before. And then one other thing that we want to do, we only want the new button to work if we're waiting for a new game to work. So what I can do is say, and new game equals true. Okay. Okay. So if new game equals true, then after we do all this stuff, we need to set new game equal to false. Okay. So let's run that and see what we got. Okay, so we can scoot that around. I hit the N key and look at that, it starts bouncing. Okay. Oh, that's weird. We got a weird bug there. That's okay. We'll figure that out later. Okay, so there we go. We have a new game going. But now we noticed how when we started by hitting the N key, it went down. And we don't really want that. We want the game to start by going up. So let's reverse that Y. We'll run it again, hit the new key, and yeah, sure enough, it's starting to go up. Okay, here we go. Good. Look at that weird little clicky thing. That's kind of odd. Oh, look at that. It's like I'm dribbling the basketball. All right, so sometimes, you know, the game creating is so much fun. Okay, so when the ball hits the bottom, it should stop the game, and I should decrease the number of balls, right? Right. So let's see what we can do there, because we do need to be able to stop the ball from running. Okay, let's close that. And let's go down to where the ball hits the bottom. Okay, so that's the X value. No, I'm sorry, that's the Y value. And specifically, it's this little bit. So if the ball Y is greater than the screen height minus the ball radius, in other words, it's hit the bottom, then we need to do stuff. So I'm going to hit Command X to save that. We'll go ahead and put that colon there. And we are going to say if ball Y is greater than the screen height minus the ball radius. So let's see what we can do here. Let me find my, we first need to say that the balls minus equals 1. Okay, because we need to subtract 1 from how many balls there are. We need to stop the ball from moving. So dx equals 0. dy equals 0. Okay, so both of those are 0. And then we can say paddle x. I'm sorry here. Let's say ball x equals the paddle x plus 40. Paddle x plus the paddle width, divided by 2. And then we're going to do ball y equals the paddle y. I'm sorry, that's paddle x, not paddle rect. So be careful with these. Paddle y minus 10. Remember, that sort of gets it right above that paddle because we're stopping that ball, right? And then we're going to say, we're going to throw a couple things in here. We're going to say if the balls is equal to 0, then what we're going to say is new game is equal to true. And then we're going to say else new ball equals to true. Okay, so let's just talk about that for a second. So if balls equal 0, in other words, we've run out of balls so we can't play anymore, then our new game is true. Okay? Right? If if we still have balls, then basically we just say it's a new ball and we stop the game for the moment until we press that space bar. But we haven't programmed the space bar yet. So let's see what we get here. Let's go ahead and run it. And when I hit N, okay, now see the ball is right there. I hit it again. Yeah. Up. So basically now it doesn't work anymore because we still have to program that space bar in order to get the thing to work. Okay, so let's go ahead and program the space bar and see what we're going to do. Now the space bar is going to be actually fairly similar to the N key. So let's scroll back up here. Here's our code for the N key. So we need to do the code for the space bar. So we're going to say if event dot key is equal to K underscore space, right? And very similar to line 121, new ball equals true, because we only want to mess with things. We only want to be able to catch that spacebar event if new ball is true. Let's see, we're going to set dx is equal to 6. dy equals to 6. And then new ball is now false. Okay, so now the game can begin again. All right. Okay, so let's run that and see what we got. So we hit N to start. And let's get this thing out of the way. Look at that, we got a good hit there. Oh boy. We'll win this game. Okay, so it lost, and now we're down to 4 balls, and now I hit the space bar again, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes. Okay, and now notice how it says new N for new game. So I have to hit N for new game, the ball's reset, and now we're going. Okay? Now we got a couple of cleanup things. First off, when we hit a new ball, it's always going down. So we do need to change that dy to a -6. And, when you're creating a new ball, you may want to randomize that dy dx. But I'll leave that up to you. That's very similar to what we did in Pong, where we use that random integer, and it would figure out a new dx or a new dy. All right, now I got another nice little thing that I would like to do, and that is this. When we run, notice how that ball, I'd like to have that ball just sort of like flying over top of the paddle whenever it's a new game or a new ball. I think that would make things look a lot better. So let's see if we can figure out where to do that. And where you would do that is where we're adding the dx to ball x and ball y, okay? We basically need to put an if statement in here. So if we say if new ball equals true, or new game equals true, then we can do this. We can say ball x equals whatever the paddle x plus the paddle width. Remember this paddle width divided by 2. And we can say ball y equals paddle y minus 10. Okay, that should make that really pretty. Else we do this stuff. Okay, and then we update. Okay, clean this up just a smidge. Okay, now let me run this again, and you'll see how that ball tracks over top, and then when I hit N, see the ball is independent, but now when I'm in a new ball, it does that. So I hit N, or I hit the space bar. Okay, now notice how this text down here at the bottom is always saying press N for new game. So let's see what we can do about that, because it should say press space for new ball. Okay, and where we did the press N for new game was way down here under the text message. So what we would do here is we would say, if new game equals true, then we want to do this. If new ball equals true, then we want to change the text to press space for new ball. Make this capitals. Okay. And if it's not new game or not new ball, then notice how it's not drawing anything. So that'll be kind of nice too. Okay, so let's run. We hit N. See, now notice how it went away. And now it says press space for new ball. Okay, so we get 2, 3. Now we're down to 2 balls, 1 ball. And now it says press N for new game. And if I hit the space bar, it doesn't do anything. But if I hit N, it redraws those. Let's close that for a second. Okay, now I got one final thing that I'd like to discuss on this particular Breakout 12. And that's this. Whenever you have a Boolean variable, like new game is Boolean and new ball is Boolean, you don't have to say if new game is equal to true. You can just say if new game, because new game is already either true or false. Okay, so I can take out the equals true here. See how that goes away? And I could do the same thing with new ball. In fact, PyCharm even says expression can be simplified. Replace Boolean expression with new ball. And if I were to get rid of that, you'll see that it removes that underline. Now, up above, we have some other places where I have this. Updating the ball position. See, I have if new ball is equal to true or new game is true. So if I can just say if new ball or new game, just like that. See how clean that makes that? By the way, there's nothing that'll say I'm a novice programmer more than that little trick there. Okay, so if new ball or new game. And if I come up here, there's a couple other places where I had put that in there. And I'd put that in there purposefully because I did want to catch this and show it to you. But we can take that one out and that one out. And it actually reads a little bit better. If the key event equals the space and new ball, then we do this stuff. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's run that for a final time. We hit N. All right. We got some cool stuff. Okay. We're going to call that for breakout number 12, and we'll do breakout 13 next time. Bye.